Welcome to another episode of Ranting and Raving about Real Estate. I am today's host, Nicole Evans, with the elite team at Keller Williams Realty Brevard, and I am so excited about the episode that we have for you today. It's about a subject that a lot of people are concerned about, that is retirement income and Social Security. And I want to talk to you about how you can use real estate investments as a part of a plan to supplement your retirement income. So, are you ready for this conversation? Let's talk about it and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Ranting and Raving about Real Estate podcast, where we discuss how real estate can shape your future and build your financial freedom.
Now, many of you watching or listening to this podcast today may feel like retirement is somewhere way off in the distant future, but I want to bring you to reality and let you know that your retirement will be here before you know it. Retirement can be a scary thing because you ask yourself the question, am I financially prepared to retire? A lot of people in the United States today cannot financially afford to retire. And that's very unfortunate. A lot of people in America, they depend on a Social Security check. Now, the national average for a Social Security check in the U.S. is only about $1,800. And as you know, living on a fixed income with only $1,800, that is probably not how you imagine living the golden years of your life, because you want to be able in your retirement years to still travel, to still go to those restaurants, to still go out and enjoy entertaining. But a lot of people, again, that reach retirement age, they're not able to do this because they cannot financially afford to retire. So think about $1,800 a month. Now, I did some research, and the national average as it relates to rent for a one-bedroom apartment is just over $1,500. A two-bedroom apartment is just over $1,800, and a three-bedroom apartment or three-bedroom home, the national average is about $2,200. So what's taking place? Many people that have retired and are depending on a Social Security check, they are going through the trouble of finding out, do I pay for groceries or do I pay for my prescription? Do I pay my light bill or do I pay my rent? And these are some tough decisions that people are having to make. So again, even though retirement may be a long way off for you, are you financially prepared to retire? Are you putting things in place, preparing for your retirement? Now, how can real estate be a game changer for you? Real estate can be a game changer for you because well after your 9-to-5 is done, I want you to imagine this. You have several real estate investment properties where you are receiving monthly rent from each one of those properties. So you're just sitting at home collecting supplemental income, collecting passive income. You're not going out there having to do a 9-to-5 job. This is just income that is coming into you because you have real estate investments, okay? Now, real estate is also a game changer because, as we know, real estate appreciates over time. So that means those real estate properties that you have, they're continuing to grow in value. And that value is turning into equity. And that equity is something that you can tap into for various reasons, either to use it for upgrades or to use it to actually invest in other real estate properties. Another reason why real estate investments can be a game changer for you is because there are so many tax benefits that you get as a result of owning real estate. And so what are some of those advantages? You can use the interest to write off. You can use the depreciation to write off. And these are just a few of the things why real estate investment can be a game changer for you as it relates to your retirement income. So what I want to do is bring in some real life examples of people that have used real estate as a means of supplementing their income as they prepare for retirement. And a lot of times people think that, you know what, Nicole, I'm too old to start investing in real estate, or I'm too young. It doesn't matter what age you are. Now is the right time to start investing in real estate. I read this book one time that's called The Mindset of a Millionaire, or the Millionaire Mindset. And in that book, it says that, listen, you don't want to wait to buy real estate. You want to buy real estate and wait. So I want you to get ready to listen to this guest that I have getting ready to come on the show. There are many times that I talk to young people that are first-time home buyers, and I let them know, listen, this is now your time to start building generational wealth through real estate. So let's check out this interview with my guest. And her name is Alicia Stallings. Alicia, welcome to the Ranting and Raving About Real Estate podcast.
Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Thank you. So tell me, give me a little bit of feedback about what we're talking about today as far as retirement income and Social Security, and just hearing what I said about the national average of a Social Security check only being $1,800. What are your thoughts on that?
Nicole, you hit the nail right on the head. And it's so much, it's something that we really don't think about because we don't think past retirement. We think we work, we save, we do all the things. But the reality of the matter is, just living off of a retirement check, you're one illness away from bankruptcy. And who wants to live like that? So it's best to start getting those ducks in the order early, not late, and making sure that you set yourself and your family up so that you don't lose everything that you worked so hard for. I mean, when you think about it, you've worked your entire life, 70, retirement age, 60, 62, now 65, and it keeps going up. So, you really want to set yourself up and look out for yourself and not depend on someone else to figure it out for you and put restrictions and limitations on what you can and cannot financially afford in your last days.
Yeah. And one of the things that for some reason I've just been noticing it lately, like if I go to a restaurant, or if I go to various places where I am seeing like people, let's say in their 70s, that are, waitressing. And I just thought to myself, why at this age in their golden years where they should be, kind of like living their best life, are they doing this? And it's because they cannot financially afford to retire. And the reason why I also wanted to have you on is because I know that you invest in real estate. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you about how you are investing in real estate, how you are using that as supplemental income. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am a full-time realtor, and I invest in real estate as a supplemental income, as you mentioned. But about me personally, I'm a wife. I am a mother of three. I'm one of those. I started over. The first one, it was so good that I made all the mistakes and learned all the lessons, and I had a do-over. So my oldest is 32. He's married with a family. I have 3 grandchildren. And then I have my do-over crew, my 14-year-old daughter and my 8-year-old son. So beyond that, I am just I just moved to Florida about almost 6 years ago. So it's my life so far has just been about do-overs. When I get started on something and it's just, start over.
Well, let me tell you this, honey. You look good, okay? When you said a 32-year-old son and three grandchildren,
Three of them.
oh my goodness, I would have never imagined that. Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Will
So tell me, Alicia, what inspired you to, I guess, first start investing in real estate?
So my mother was a um, full-time and W-2 employee. She wore many hats. She was a realtor. She was a insurance salesperson. She had rent houses, 12 rent houses, and some of them she flipped, some of them she purchased and held. Um, she was a nightclub, she owned a nightclub that she built from ground up, and she worked really hard. I watched her do this all throughout my childhood. Fast forward, I went to the military, and then I was working in corporate for 30 some odd years. And then something just came over me. It's just corporate wasn't the same. Like going in and doing the same mundane thing and having the anxiety of not knowing if I was going to make the next layoff rounds. And so something just started to shift within me. And as I mentioned before, I'm a do-over. So I started looking at, okay, well, what can I do to lessen this anxiety? Because I started having some medical issues behind it. So I looked at, okay, well, what can I invest in? Well, there's three things in this world that you can invest in that appreciates, and that's minerals, that is art, and that is land. I'm no geologist, I'm no artist, so it was just real estate was a no-brainer for me. So I started there, and fast forward, looking at what I've done so far within the first year of my being a realtor. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the decision that I made. I signed my severance package on my 50th birthday, and so looking at it and where I've gotten to in this last year, I'm really excited. I'm kind of thinking, why didn't I do this sooner?
So, right now, how many investment properties do you have?
So I have three.
All right, good, good. And so I want to let people know that they sometimes feel that investing in real estate is this scary thing. But all you have to do is start small. Start with that one property. And if you start with that one property and build upon that, hey, you by the time you know it, you have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I think a lot of people feel that is scary because they think that, oh, okay, I need to get this 10 unit, apartment complex. No, start simple. Just start with one.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you got your first investment property?
51. No, 50.
50. Okay. All right. So that tells me that it is never too late to start, because some people feel like, and I've actually heard this before, Alicia, someone asked me, do you think I'm too old to buy a house? I'm like, no, ma'am, not at all. That's like asking, like, do you think I'm too old to go back to school? No, never. So whatever age you are, you can start investing in real estate, one small property at a time, even if it's just land. Vacant land, you can do that. And I think it is so interesting that, you brought up about your mom owning different rental properties, because growing up, that was my great grandmother and my great grandfather, where they owned, like, oh my gosh, so many properties. That's a whole other story that I could get into. But I just remember when it was time for the people to come and pay my grandfather rent, he would sit underneath the carport in his little chair with his legs crossed as the people brought their little envelopes with the rent money in there. I was like, what? I want to be able to sit under the carport and collect money. like this. But that was his form of passive income. And that is how they were able to build generational wealth. And I will say that they left a legacy behind because when my great grandmother passed away, all of the properties that she had was inherited by my grandfather. Guess what? When my grandfather had those properties, some of those he sold off and got that money. But before he passed away, he was able to leave a house for each one of his children.
Right.
Now that's what I'm talking about, setting up the next generation to establish our wealth.
Yeah.
So
It's about
I
having
just
that
don't
legacy. Hmm.
say that again.
It's about that. It's about creating that legacy, the foundation of a legacy where you can pass off your things of value to those who come behind you. And that way they don't have to start from scratch. We don't need to keep reinventing this wheel if we continue to invest in our families, our children, and then and teach them how to do it. Each one of our closings, our children have been at each one of our closings and understand what we're doing and when we're doing it.
Wow. So yeah, you're kind of just like showing them and setting that
Yeah,
example before them. And I think that is right. So there's a scripture that says, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are
mhm.
old, they will not depart from it.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now tell me, how did you decide upon your investment strategy, whether you would invest in like single family homes, duplexes, multifamily units, or just vacant land? How did you come up with your strategy?
Yeah, so initially we thought we'd do single family homes. Our intent for that was we would not have to deal with HOAs, and we could rent those properties out with the expectation of whoever's renting them can someday buy them, because it's not about just investing as a supplemental for our income. It's also about passing that blessing and that education on to others so that they may do the same. We got to stop. We really need to stop and relying on just doing the same status quo, renting forever and continuing to do that. So we really need to start teaching others how to invest and how to purchase their own properties.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And a lot of times when I have first time homeowners that come to, buy a house, and sometimes they try to get like that dream house right off the bat. And I let them know this is your first house. So don't think of this as the end all be all, but
Mm.
think of it as, okay, this is something that I'm going to move into to get started. And
Right.
perhaps I can later use this as my first investment property.
Yep.
And so I just think about one of my clients where they actually did that. They bought a home. They were in that home for, I want to say, about 3 years. And then they upgraded to their next home, but they kept that home as an investment property. And now that investment property generates an additional $500 above what the mortgage payment is as
Mhm.
passive income for them.
Yeah.
Not only are they generating passive income, but that house is growing and appreciating in value
Hmm.
each year.
I love that.
So yeah, I mean, and I think they were in their 20s, and they have like two little kids now. And I was like, yes, they got it. This is what I'm talking about.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
So tell me about when you purchased your first investment property. How was that? Was it scary? Tell me what were some of the like points where it's like, what am I doing?
Yes. So it was very scary because, as I mentioned before, I had left my job. It was pretty much a forced out. I just decided I didn't want to take a demotion with the same responsibilities and less pay. And I didn't have an office to go back to. So it was pretty much a forced out. But I was already kind of there, and I just didn't have shamefully enough, I didn't have the faith to go for it, right? So I was really afraid. But so I'll say that it was a nudge. And once I got that nudge, I took that 401k that I've been saving for 30 some years and putting into for 30 some years. I took that and paid cash for my first investment property.
Wow.
Rented it for 3 months and then turned that into, took the equity out and then purchased my second. And that just set the wheels in motion for what was to move forward.
And I have to add this disclaimer. So we are not attorneys, we are not tax professionals, and we are not trying to provide you any advice as it relates to legalese or any tax advice. So any of the things that you hear us talk about on this podcast, make sure before you act on anything that we're talking about, that you consult a professional lawyer or a tax advisor on these different things. Okay, so got that out the way.
Hey, hold on. Let me put a pin in that one because I absolutely did consult with my attorney, with my accountant before we made that decision. So I'm really glad that you put that caveat out there for the listeners of your podcast because it is so important. I would not have made a move like that without first consulting a professional.
Good for you. Good for you. So you took out your 401k, paid cash for your first investment property. And then that first investment property, you gained equity in that and then took the equity out to buy the next rental property.
Yeah.
So those of you that are listening today, I really want you to grasp that because that very first property, that is what's going to help once it appreciates in value, you to fund your next investment property. And then it's rinse and repeat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, what I want to ask is the type of properties that you have achieved as investment properties. Were all of those like straight sales? Did you have like any foreclosures, any tax certificates?
Nope, not yet. They were straight sales, straight transactions. We are actually looking at tax strategies, tax lien properties. We're also looking at foreclosures. We know that this is in this area. There's a lot of probate properties, so we are open to looking at it all. Right now, we're still babies in this, my husband and I. So we are keeping our options open and kind of looking out for that next opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So now as it relates to, okay, you see a home on the MLS or you see it on Zillow and the home costs, and I'm just going to use this fictitious number, $250,000 and it needs repairs. So is there like a process that you go through to say, okay, I see that this is $250,000. I estimate that we're going to have to do about $20,000 in repairs. This is not going to be a good buy or it will be a good buy. How do you determine that?
So my husband is the financial guru of this operation. He has created a spreadsheet where it looks at the ROI, it looks at the ARV, it looks at, and for ARV is after repair value. ROI is return on investment. We look at all of those things and determine, okay, so what's the comps? What's the comparables in the area? What are other homes selling for? What did they look like when they sold? The values that we would then go in, we would have to make sure that it just makes it, that the math on those, right? Mm-hmm. So we'd have to take into consideration all of those. And then also the risk factors. What are the risks? What's the market doing? All of those trends, they matter. And so it kind of gets put into that big calculation of, okay, does this make sense or not?
Got it. Now, what are your future plans for acquiring more real estate investment properties? Do you have a goal as far as how many you would like to have?
Absolutely. So 20 is our big goal. But we, like with anything, you gotta chop it down and make it achievable. So we did actually miss our first goal. Our first goal was five in the first year. We are in the month of November, the end of November, and we have not quite made it there yet. So we just kind of took a step back and looked at, okay, well, what could we have done to have met that goal of five? And then we started addressing those issues, and some of those was finding that inventory because you had asked earlier about challenges. Well, that's also a challenge is finding that inventory right now, and for it to make sense because there's homes out there, but the value is just doesn't make financial sense to take the deal. So getting back to an achievable goal and finding what we missed, what opportunities we missed, and addressing those. So some of the opportunities we missed was not knowing. So that's why, as of recently, we've taken the approach of getting better acquainted with what's happening in the cities around us so that we can go out there and look for those things. We've worked at looking at wholesalers, seeing how we can make a deal happen with the wholesaler. So inventory is one of the things that we really have to kind of focus on to drive that to get us to where we want to be.
All right, awesome. Well, before we end this conversation on today, what is a piece of advice that you would provide to those that are considering getting into investing in real estate as a means of having passive income and supplemental income to their retirement?
Do it. Don't wait. Like you said, like we discussed at the beginning of this podcast, you find people who think, "Am I too old for this?" Well, no. If you're breathing, you're not too old. As I mentioned before, I'm the queen of do-overs, not by intention, but just by happenstance. And I feel like God has a time and a purpose for all of our lives. However you believe, whatever faith you follow, just know, trust, and believe that there is a purpose for you. And if this is something that you feel like you are up for the challenge, because it is a challenge, it looks easy. You look at HGTV and House Hunters and all of that, and it looks real easy. Those things are made for TV, but then there's a reality to it, and it involves a little bit of work. It involves research. It involves time. And if you're willing to devote that to this, then it is definitely something that will lessen the angst. So you don't have to wait or depend on someone else to fund your life. And you can do those things. Now, it may be a little difficult in the beginning. You may think, why did I do this? But in the end, continue the consistency. And I think it's the best decision that I've made. I wish I'd have done it sooner.
Wow. And I often get that. I wish I would have done it sooner. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your experience, as just starting this journey of investing in real estate. I wish you much success, and I know you're going to do amazing. So again, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you.
Now, I hope you enjoyed that brief conversation I had with Alicia. And now you may be wondering, Nicole, how can I get started in investing in real estate? Well, number one, I want you to remember to start small. Oftentimes, people are very afraid to invest in real estate or use real estate investments as a means of supplementing their income because they think they have to start big. They think they have to get the 20 building apartment complex, the 10 units at one time. No. As we said in the interview with Alicia, start small. Start with one property and then begin to build your way up. The second thing you need to do is consult with a professional realtor. And that's where I come in. You are working with someone that has market knowledge that can lead and guide you and give you some good points as it relates to what type of properties you should be looking at. They can let you know what the market is like. And these are going to be some things that when you have a realtor in your corner, they're going to be able to assist you to help you make the right decision that is going to give you the most bang for your buck. The third thing that you need to do is yourself. Do research in your local area that you live in, but not only in the area that you live in, also do market research on areas outside of your state. Because there are many states that have golden opportunities for you to invest in. One thing I want you to keep in mind about opportunity is you have to be prepared to seize the moment. So right now, while you are on that 9 to 5 and you have that 401k and you have these different savings, if an opportunity becomes available, then you are prepared with the finances to seize that opportunity. But guess what? If you're not prepared, that's going to be an opportunity that passes you by. So foreclosures, that was another thing that my husband and I took advantage of as it relates to properties that we acquire for our real estate investments. So you want to make sure that you do the research and you're prepared to take advantage of opportunities that come your way. And then you want to consider your financing options. There are many different loan products out there that are available to investors. And so partnering with a knowledgeable realtor like myself, we can then connect you with a lender that can provide you with the guidance on what will be the best loan package for you. So you want to make sure that you consider the different financing options that are available. And in the next episodes, I'm going to bring in different lenders that can tell you about, hard money loans, DSCR loans, and all of these different things that are available for those looking to invest in real estate. Now, in closing, I just want to say that retirement should not be a time of financial stress. Again, in your golden years, in your retirement years, this is the time that you should really be enjoying life, enjoying the fruits of your labor, knowing that you have built up a retirement nest egg that you can live comfortably on. And so if you want to find out more about how you can begin building your real estate portfolio, I want you to reach out to me. Give me a call so that I can help you put together a game plan, put together some strategies so that you can start building wealth so that when you retire, you can live a life of financial freedom. Again, I am Nicole Evans, your host with the elite team at Keller Williams Realty Brevard. I look so forward to serving you. You can call me at 321-506-8652 or send me an email at NicoleEvansRealEstate@gmail.com or check me out on all social media platforms at Nicole Evans Real Estate. Remember, if you want it sold, call Nicole.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Ranting and Raving About Real Estate podcast.